This is NBC25 Today.
Right now on NBC25 Today, this car involved in a not-so-ordinary crash. What police say led them to this scene. A mystery they're trying to solve this morning.
Also, the odor slowly clearing after a stinky situation on I-75. We've got the smelly details coming up.
And new this morning, there's a new MDQ director. What protesters are now asking senators to do.
We have now hit the 6 o'clock hour on this Thursday morning, the morning when NFL football returns to your television screen.
Let's go.
I'm Mike Wolfo, glad to have you with us tonight. It is a Super Bowl rematch between the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers.
Are you done with your sportscast?
Kristen Aguirre, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. Listen, I'm ready for sports, but I'm also ready for tailgating. We got tailgating tips coming up a little bit later in the show. But let's get your morning started right now with meteorologist Ahmed Badji. You two talking football all morning.
Oh, yeah. Well, tailgating tips straight from the Davison Farmers Market, of course. And football tailgating is a great show ahead. The downside is we got to talk some rain first. Here's what's going on across the area. Good morning. I'm Ahmed Badji, and we are officially in the 6 o'clock hour on your Friday Eve. On Stormy Doppler, we've only got a little bit of shower activity to watch for, and that's really just across the southern counties. It's not even showers anymore. It's really light stuff, maybe just some drizzle for the most part, and that's where you see the darker greens, mainly here and then also over to the west. All of that moving basically directly to the east from their current locations. Temp-wise, 73 in Cairo, 72 in Bad Axe, 74 through the southern counties until you get to Owasso, and then we go from there through Elma and Mount Pleasant at 73 degrees. Midland going to be watching for about 80 to 81 for the high there today. Sunshine by the end, but we're dry at 2, and that is important. I'm going to tell you why here for the loons in a couple of minutes, but Flint warming up to about 82 to 83. Remember, the rain ends by the early afternoon. We're going to watch for that shower activity to calm down, and we're going to break that down by hour coming up here in the models in a couple of minutes.
New this morning, Carlton Township Police have an interesting mystery on their hands. They're investigating a rollover accident where they found the car but no driver.
Interesting indeed. Township Police got a call just after midnight saying a car was upside down in a ditch. Well, when officers and firefighters got to the scene, that's exactly what they found. Now, this is at McCarty, just west of Michigan Avenue. The car was, in fact, submerged in water.
But they found no one inside and no witnesses, so they don't really know what happened or if anyone was hurt. Now, we will continue to follow the story and update you as we learn more. But in the meantime, if you have any information that might help investigators, call Carlton Township Police.
Also this morning, customers at a Dollar General store in Saginaw will notice a front window all boarded up when they go there to shop today. This after a car reportedly hit the building. This is at the Dollar General on East Genesee. Both city police and fire crews responded here. We're working to get additional information for you on this as well, so we will certainly keep you posted, but certainly don't be alarmed when you show up at the store this morning. While we're talking about traffic, we got to let you know about this one, and you'll be glad that you don't have smell-o-vision. The technology does not even exist right now. A U-Haul driver walking away with minor injuries after this accident that happened with a semi-trailer, that trailer carrying human waste.
Oh my goodness, I have to look away. But you come look at your screen right here because you're looking at 11,000 gallons of human waste. Now, this is on I-75 just north of Vieta Road yesterday afternoon. Police say a U-Haul truck rear-ended the semi hauling the waste. It happened during rush hour, so you can only imagine what it did to traffic. Yeah,
well, it took crews hours to clean it up. Hazmat actually brought in a truckload of dirt and some lime to take care of that smelly job.
Well, there's about 2,000 to 3,000 gallons on the road and about 8,000 gallons of it in the ditch. It was hauling 11,000 gallons.
That is a lot of human waste to spill out on the road. U-Haul driver, as we mentioned, minor injuries in the crash. He was taken to a hospital for treatment. Elsewhere this morning, the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality now officially has a new boss this morning. State senators have approved Heidi Grether as the new director. Governor Snyder announced her appointment back in July. Now, not everyone is happy about this choice. Protesters showed up at yesterday's Senate hearing. They wanted lawmakers to block Grether's confirmation. Environmental groups are critical of Grether. She was a manager at BP when the Deepwater Horizon spill happened down in the Gulf of Mexico.
I actually thought it was like one of the Onion articles because I didn't see how anyone would approve of the optics, picking an oil industry insider to head up the department that is charged with protecting our local health and environment.
Now, during the hearing, Ms. Grether pledged fair environmental regulations that will help solve problems like the Flint water crisis.
Now, the Grether confirmation is just one completed task on lawmakers' agenda. This morning, they have a lot more to do now that they're back to work after the long summer recess. And there's concern they might not get through their entire to-do list. It includes a bill reforming laws that allow police officers to seize property if they believe it's connected to a crime, overhauling the state election system, calling for automatic voter registration if you have a state ID, and making off-roading trails more accessible to ATVs. Meanwhile, some state lawmakers now pushing to keep traffic deaths down by expanding Michigan's distracted driving laws. Texting while driving is already banned in Michigan, but this bill would make it illegal to hold your cell phone while driving. Lawmakers in support are pointing to the numbers. Now, since 2012, there have been more than 5,000 distracted driving cases in Michigan. Around 750 of those involved cell phones. Now, this proposed bill calling for more hands-free cell phone use. It would allow single swipe use of cell phones only if they're mounted on a windshield or a dashboard. Now, here's what drivers in mid-Michigan had to say about this.
I do agree with not being able to text, especially for younger children, because that causes quite a few accidents. But to be able to just hold it, I think that's a little bit extreme.
I think it's a good law. I mean, I don't know how they're really going to crack down on it, though, because a lot of people's windows are tinted like mine. How are you going to see it?
Now, if those proposed ban on holding cell phones doesn't pass this year, lawmakers say they're going to try it again in 2017. You don't text and drive, right, Ahmed?
Nope, no, I do not. Here's what we got going on in the forecast ahead. We got some rain moving on through. You can see it here, a little bit of light stuff now moving on through the Flint area as well. These are only spots with rain, which is why I'm not showing the rest of the Doppler. This is the only area that has rain right now. Cloudy conditions exist everywhere else, and so does the mugginess. It's kind of a roller coaster. We drop down the hill as we go into the extended, but not until we get to the weekend do we actually improve drastically. Still for today, despite the cooler temperatures, we are quite muggy out ahead of us. Now, something to kind of cool you down a little bit. Hey, fall colors start to ramp up here just within the next week and a half, up to the north mainly, despite our heat. The leaves should start to turn colors, and then not for us until we get really to the end of the month and into the early October, but we are finally getting into that season. Not bad at all. We're heading at least for my favorite season, but we're not quite there just yet. Now, in the school bus forecast out ahead of us, the school day doesn't look bad. Send the kids off with an umbrella, no matter where they're at, just in case they get a little drizzle by the late morning, because we do have a couple little spots that should pop by the time we get after 11, between 11 and 1. By the end of the day, though, we're dry. 83 for your high there, basically widespread across the area. We're talking about the Loons baseball forecast as they return from their rain suspension, of course. That's coming up in a few minutes.
All right, just ahead this morning, the reason a guy decides to rob a bank just might make you chuckle. We're going to let you know what he's trying to get away from when NBC25 Today continues.
It'll make you shake your head. Your time right now is 6:08. See you back here in a couple minutes.
You're watching NBC25 Today with Mike Woolfolk, Kristen Aguirre, and meteorologist Ahmed Badji.
Now, I'm not a Broncos fan. I'm not really a Panthers fan either, but it will be my kind of party tonight. When the NFL kicks off a new season right here on NBC. You are looking at a live shot now of Sports Authority Field at Mile High, even though Sports Authority went under earlier this year.
You know who's a big Broncos fan?
Who is?
Sadie Hughes. Right-side anchor Sadie Hughes.
Really?
Yeah,
I understand Corey Topic is a big Broncos fan too.
They're all from Colorado.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, it's 6:12 now. Let's turn our attention to the presidential race. Donald Trump visits Cleveland today. Hillary Clinton heads to North Carolina. Both were in New York last night for NBC's big Commander-in-Chief Forum.
Now, the candidates taking questions from veterans during the live event, trying to convince voters they have solid judgment to lead the country. Tracy Potts has more.
How are you? Clinton rallies in Charlotte today after answering tough questions from a military audience about emailing classified information.
I communicated about classified material on a wholly separate system. I took it very seriously.
She drew the line on ground troops to fight ISIS.
We are not putting ground troops into Iraq ever again, and we're not putting ground troops into Syria.
And she insisted that Donald Trump also supported the Iraq war.
I have taken responsibility for my decision.
Let me go to another
He
veteran.
refuses to take responsibility for his support.
I was totally against the war in Iraq.
Trump heads to North Carolina today after being challenged repeatedly by the audience to explain his policies. He said immigrants who are not citizens should be allowed to serve in the military.
It would be a very special circumstance, yes.
He defended praising Russia's leader.
If he says great things about me, I'm going to say great things about him.
And he criticized our military leaders.
The generals have been reduced to rubble. They have been reduced to a point where it's embarrassing for our country.
Trump and Clinton clashed over VA reform.
I will not let the VA be privatized.
I never said take the VA, take it, the Veterans Administration private. I wouldn't do that.
Setting the stage for their first debate later this month. Also this morning, Democrats have released an email exchange between Clinton and former Secretary of State Colin Powell, which they describe as a playbook on how to skirt the system with personal email. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
All right, thanks, Tracy. Speaking of Hillary Clinton this morning, she's opening more Michigan campaign offices. She already had one in Flint. Now Clinton also has offices in Muskegon, Marquette, Brighton, and Grand Rapids.
Also this morning, a Kansas City man is accusing of robbing a bank. Ladies, wait till you hear to this one. But he's accused of robbing a bank, right? But his excuse is he said he would rather be imprisoned instead of live with his wife. Excuse me? Court documents say the 70-year-old gave a note to a teller at a bank on Friday demanding money and warning that he was armed. Now, when authorities arrived, he was waiting for officers in the lobby with the cash he'd taken. The man has now been charged with bank robbery. Mike is over here cracking up laughing. But you know what? Who's going to help him with his legal fees? It better not be his wife.
I'm laughing because you said, excuse me.
I just cannot. Can you
And
believe?
then it was a 70-year-old, and I was thinking this was some young guy. He was 70 years young. Okay. All right, let me get serious again here. The first U.S. mission to sample an asteroid will launch later today. The spacecraft will go up and collect surface material from a near-Earth asteroid, then return. Scientists hope the samples hold clues to the solar system's origins. And also hope that the mission will improve understanding about asteroids that could impact Earth. The spacecraft will reach the asteroid in 2018 and should return to Earth in 2023. This is interesting.
Now, this is kind of a follow-up to the first time we landed on the comet, right, in 2014. The amount of science, everything that could go wrong is astronomical. We've never done it before. There's another one. We haven't never landed on an asteroid and then come back. So we'll see what happens with this one after it launches later today. All right, here's what we got going on in the forecast ahead. We are talking rain continuing, at least for part of the area, for the morning to start. Not everyone will need the umbrella, but you will need it by the middle of the day. There's a couple little pop-up showers that will return after 11 o'clock in the morning, and they'll go until about 1. Here's what's going on right now. First off, outside your window, live look over downtown Flint. 74 degrees there for the current conditions. Not bad at all, of course. By the time we get into the extended, we will see that heat finally start to drop away. This is, of course, a very mild start for us. We're actually right where we're supposed to be for our normal highs. 83 for your high across the southern counties for today. Cooling out off, rain calms down, and then through the early afternoon is when it finally starts to come to a complete end. 83, of course, is still above normal. Now, 80 degrees for your high in the thumb. Cooler air, still a little on the humid side. The rain ends a little later on, of course. In the Tri-Cities, about the same deal. 81 degrees there for your high. Cooling on down. The rain ends later on today, where we're looking for that calm period between about 7 a.m. and 11. And then we start to get isolated little spots of drizzle and a couple little showers to pop up, and they'll be done by basically 1 o'clock. And then in the northern counties, same deal. But you have so low of a shower chance, so low. It's enough that I need to make sure that you know that there is one or two that's going to pop, but across the entirety of the northern counties, you're only going to see one or two, and they're going to mainly focus on the Gladwin to Aranac County area, but 80 degrees for your high up that way. Now on Futurecast, here's the deal. The shower activity moves on through. There's the calm period. Then we get a few more pop-ups, and then it's gone real fast. Everything focuses then on Metro Detroit area. For us, we're done. And then overnight, we clear it up completely. It's a beautiful night out ahead of us. Tomorrow, start off with sun. You see this little bit of cloud cover that filters back on in quickly in the evening, but rain doesn't move in until late Friday night into Saturday morning. Saturday morning, we start off with sun, and then the rain hits. So Saturday is going to be actually pretty much on the rainy side, but later in the day. Loons versus Bowling Green later on today, 79 degrees at the time of the pitch. It's not first pitch. I'm not going to call it first pitch anymore because we're starting off at the bottom of the fourth, 2:05 p.m. And that is because we had the delay yesterday, or actually the game was suspended because of the rain. Today, cloudy, yes, but dry. That is the good news. 81 for your high tomorrow as the sun starts. Of course, the rain doesn't return until Friday night. Saturday, it's all the leftovers from that tropical system that was down in Mexico, now moving on through our southwest states, and that's going to head in our direction. That's actually riding the jet stream like a roller coaster. And then we get into Sunday and Monday, sunshine all the way through there, low 70s to start off next week. Not too bad at all. Hey, guess what? Time for a look at something outside that, you know, it's a little tasty. It's that time of season. Oh, you know what? We're going to talk about the food in a little bit. First, here's a look at sports.
The Great Lakes Loons started the playoffs for the second straight season last night at Dow Diamond once again. Could they do something they haven't done since 2010 with the best plays and reaction? And did they get it in with all that rain? Next in sports. Good morning, I'm Tom Eschen. It's the fifth all-time playoff appearance for the Great Lakes Loons, but in their last two, 2013, 2015, they gotten swept. Their last series win came in 2010, advancing to the Eastern Division Championship. So this year, trying to avoid getting swept and get out of the first round, the first goals in sight. Taking on Bowling Green, they brought out the bats early on. A 3-run third gave the squad a 3-0 lead, but then the rains came with a purpose. They hung around to see if they could get it in. They could not. Play has been suspended. The Loons up 3-0 in the fourth to play again today at 2 o'clock. The rest of the series pushed back a game, so game 2 tomorrow, game 3 Saturday. Meanwhile, the Tigers wrapping up with Chicago today with some dreary skies there in Chicago. 3-3 tie in the top of the 7th inning. Runners on the corners. Jose Iglesias, that's a big drive there with 2 outs. The ground rule double to the left. James McCann scores 4-3 Tigers, but the White Sox get 4 in the bottom of the inning, 3 off of Shane Green. They lose their second straight and the series too, 7-4.
You know, mediocre road trip, 3-3. Could be worse. You know, 500 on the road isn't awful. Would have been nice to win this one here today and take 4 out of 6. But we'll go 3-3, and we got a big series of Baltimore coming up.
Can't think about the past. Got to think about tomorrow. Nice off day, clear the mind, and then the next day we got to get back after it.
Tigers still trail Baltimore by a game in the wild card race. As you look at sports this morning, I'm Tom Eschen.